Hey guys, it's Lisa back with another video for you for Lisa Wise Designs, and we are on part number 4 of making this cute little fresh air album. It's a 6 3/4 by 6 3/4 album. It holds about 40 photos, and we're about, like I said, this is the 4th part to this, and we're going to keep rolling through here. If you want to pick up the kit or if you want to pick up the tutorial, the instructions only, those details and links are down below in the details section of this video. Okay, this is where we left off. We are on the cutting guide, page 18, right here at the bottom. So we are going to make a mark. You know, I still haven't found my ruler from like the last time. I may have to go and get another one. Hang on. Here it is. I have 2 or 3 of these, but they seem to go missing really easily. On the front cover, with the flowers, we're going to come over about an inch from the left side of the flower paper. I'm going to start on the flower paper, so not from the end of the cover, and I'm going to make a mark about an inch in, okay, a vertical mark. Now we're going to be at the top of page 19. We're going to grab our white cardstock that we have been working with, that we have, you should have already cut and scored, right? So we have piece D. Right, we have 2 piece Ds. Let's just go ahead and do those both at the same time. All right, I'm going to put tape between the cut edge and the score line. And you want to go more toward the cut edge unless told differently. You know, I think I'll just do one at a time. Let's just do one side at a time. I think that makes more sense in the way of how the tutorial is written. And fold toward the back on those score lines. All right, so now you can see the tape here. I'm just going to grab my project here. So on this flower paper that we just put down, and we just made this 1 inch mark, I'm going to dry fit this, but this should line up with that mark, so you should have about an inch on each side of the flower paper. Okay, and so you're going to kind of have a big belly band, so you're going to have openings on both sides. And later on, we will have a little booklet that goes in there. So this should fit at the top and bottom of the flower paper. It should line up pretty close. Except I ain't lined up right. Let go, let go, let go, let go, let go. Maybe I'll start here at the top. I don't want to get my head in the way. But that's kind of hard to do. Okay. And then now I can kind of push it down toward the bottom. It's a little bit better. I was really crooked the first time. All right, I'm going to erase my pencil mark because you can kind of see that. Okay, easy. So now we're going to get 2 E pieces out. 2 of the E pieces. They have 1 flap, side or bottom, just depending on how you got it on your workspace here. But we want to put tape between score line and cut edge. These are going to be photo flaps, and I like the size of these because no matter if you've got landscape or portrait, the vertical type orientation photos, they will fit onto this. I really like that look. So if you've got a photo, like I said, that's portrait orientation, or if they're landscape orientation, they will fit on here. That's me when Mom and I went to Iceland. What year was that? I don't know. It's been about 5 years ago or so. Loved that trip. It was cold. The coldest I have ever been. So now we're in the middle of page 19. So we're going to slightly miter these to make them easier to go underneath those flaps that we have cut. So I'm going to start this time. I'm going to go a slight miter all the way to the score line. Or you can start at the score line and miter, whichever floats your boat. Clean that up. Now I'm going to fold to the back. Fold on those score lines, mitering. I'm sorry, burnishing. See, I just say words. Like word salad. On the bottom of page 19, we're going to slit these pieces underneath piece D. Okay. So I'm dry fitting it right now, but I'm going to put where my glue is, or my tape, underneath piece D. You know, about a 1/16 of an inch, something really small away from the score line, and I'm going to center it top and bottom to make this where it's going to be a flap, except that I'm putting it in the wrong spot. I am so glad that I did not do that I dry fit it, because I just realized it's supposed to go right here. This was the whole reason, Lisa, that we left, sorry guys, left that open. It goes underneath the flower paper, centering it top to bottom. There we go. Now that's the way it's supposed to look, so that when we're done and then we glue this down, you don't see that flap there. So we are going to do that, but that's not till the next step. Okay. So I am doing it where the glue or the tape is on the top, underneath the flower paper, about a 1/16 of an inch away from the score line, centering it top to bottom. All that good stuff before I put it into place. I'm going to write down E here, just so as I'm teaching that I'll be able to see what the letters are. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to flip it around where the adhesive is on the top. I'm going to go underneath the flower paper, centering top to bottom, about a 1/16 of an away from the score line, so that when I fold it, it's going to come in and look like this. Okay. I hold my breath when I put stuff down like this. It's just crazy, isn't it? Especially if you're using tape when you're putting it together. Like I said, you can always use undo and that will take it up. But I'm just lazy. I don't like to get my undo out unless I have to. And sometimes I have to. Alright, so now we're moving over to page 20, where it tells you this is giving you your 2 photo flaps and to glue down the edges of the flower paper. And so now that these big piece E's are in place, we can glue the flower paper down. I'm just going to pull that piece up and then just put glue up to the edges and just push that down into place. So of course, the first time I made this, I forgot to do that, and I had my flaps on top of the flower piece, but since we don't cover it up with anything else, I really did not like the way that looked. So can you imagine you got these big flaps right here, and they're getting caught on the belly band. So I just kind of redesigned it and used some more paper, and it looks so much more better. So much better now. Full disclosure, right? I'm trying to make the mistake so you don't have to. So maybe this will be an easy put together for you. My brain thinks differently than some people too. Some people will probably put the flaps on first and then put the flower paper down so you wouldn't have to do that whole rigmarole, but I don't know. Okay, I'm just checking, especially the edges, to make sure they're glued down well. because that will be the point, right? That will pull up first is those edges. So now you have D, the belly band in the back, and then you got your E flaps. Okay. Let's see. Trying to see where I am on my cutting guide. So it looks like I'm on page 20, and now we need our F pieces. So we need 2 F pieces. I will say that I did not ink my edges before I put them in the book, and that would have been so much easier if I was going to ink the white. But if you want to do that, I would do it as you're putting it in the book. Be so much easier than once it's in the book. But hey, I've always been the one to do things backward, it would seem. Let's burnish that down. Now then, this is actually going to be your 2 photo flaps for a couple of vertical photos like this, because most of us take pictures with our camera on our phone, right? And we usually take them in this vertical position. So I know 99% of my photos are like this, so this is why that we have got these vertical flaps here. Most people are gonna have the majority of those photos if you're using your phone. Okay. Isn't that funny how when we had cameras, most of our photos were in the landscape position, right? Because that's how it was natural to hold the camera. I think that's kind of interesting. All right, so I'm going to open my E flaps back up. And so now we put the F flaps on. You may not have to, but I do think it makes life easier to miter these a little bit, just like we did on E. So once again, this is even more important this time to have your adhesive on the top as you slip this in underneath the D belly band, centering top to bottom for it to fold over, because you want to make sure this stays open because we're going to put an insert in there for photos. Okay, let me clean up my little pieces here. So adhesive on the top of the F flap going underneath D, centering top to bottom about 1/16 of an inch away from the score line. Burnish. So this F piece, I'm going to turn it around. Adhesive on the top, I'm going to go underneath the other side of D and do the same thing. Come on. There we go. Just make sure I've covered up my glue, but I have enough room on my score line. Okay, we got a couple more flaps to add, but the way this will go on the front cover, it's going to go left, right, left, right, and then we're going to have some other things here. We're going to put like a pocket here, and we're going to have another flap here. Okay, let's keep moving. So now we need one G and one H. Okay, let's put these together first. We're at the top of page 21, so on piece G, we're going to put tape just like normal between the score line and cut edge, but on H, we're gonna flip it over so where the bump is, and I'm gonna put the tape on that side. It's not detrimental if you don't do it this way. If you put the tape on the front, it just seems to fold better when I'm putting pieces behind each other or pieces on top of each other, and so that's why you'll see why I do things that way, but like I said, it's not detrimental. Paper is paper and it'll train, right? Because believe me, I have done it both ways. So on G, let's see, let me make sure, because I'm pretty sure, yes, that H goes on top of G, and you're going to line it up on the right side, okay, like that. So see, you've got about, what, maybe 1/8 of an inch here that's left up, and then your H is going to fold over to the back. Let me see what it says on the instructions, just to make sure. Yep. So I'm going to fold down on my H. I'm going to burnish. I'm just going to dry run, put it on the top of G all the way over to the right. I'm going to have, see, about 1/16 of an inch on the bottom showing, 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 on the left side. Okay. So now this is going to give you 4 places to put those vertical photos from your cell phone. You won't even have to, I don't think so, I don't think you'll even have to use pattern paper, which is always nice. You can just put them into place. So you'll have photo, photo, and then once we put this down in the book, then you put photo here. So I'm gonna go ahead and fold on that score line. All right, I'm gonna grab my book. So piece E flap that is attached to the left side. So this flap here is attached on the very front. We're going to fold this G and H piece we put together. We're going to fold that tape to the back, and we're going to put it flush there to this. Okay? There to this. I know that was really descriptive, right? Sometimes I crack myself up. I'm like, really? I hope people can read my mind. All right. So now, like I say, you have 1, 2, 3, close it back, 4. So there's 4 photos. And then you get into your bigger flaps that you could put 4 photos on these, or you can put a combination of photos and pattern paper. And 1, 2, 3 photos here and 5 photos here. So, and then we will make an insert that goes here. So if you have a lot of photos you want to put in, you can, or if you want to put a combination of photos and show off the pattern paper, or if you don't have that many, you can use a lot more of your pattern paper and cut aparts, right? Okay, so now we need our last piece here, piece I. This is going to be our pocket. So let's put a pocket together. So we have 3 spaces here that we need to put tape. All right, closest to the cut edge, please. I remember the first time I was putting together a pocket and I was like, this is the weirdest thing I've ever done. Why is it? But the more books that you make and the more pieces that you see, when you start seeing how people cut and score, you're like, oh, I know what that's going to be. That's going to be a pocket, or that's going to go be a photo flap, or I bet that's going to be for pattern paper. It's a weird size. All right, here we go. So now grab a pair of scissors. We're going to miter this, and there is visuals on the bottom of page 21, but right where the score lines meet, we are going to cut. Not going to cut over the score lines, but right up to where they meet. You're going to cut a pretty good chunk off, right? here. I don't know if you can see right there. So I got right up to where those score lines meet, because we're going to fold this together to become a pocket. So I flipped it over, and now I'm folding up the 3 sides. Okay. So theoretically, if you've cut it exactly right, they will come right together and they won't overlap. That one's pretty good. This one's overlapping a little bit. You can go in there and just cut a little more off. Just make it a little bit deeper angle. There we go. So let's put the pocket on our project. I'm going to flip over to the next page. So I'm on page 22. So this says locate flap E. That is attached to the right side of the cover. Okay, so now we used this flap E to put these on. So now we're on the other flap, okay? We're on flap E that's attached right here on the right side. So that is where this pocket is going to be. It's a vertical pocket. It's going to go all the way flush to the right side of E. Okay, it should be flush top, bottom, and right side. And I'll show you why I did that in just a second on the album I've already got finished. So on my sample here. Ooh, that is sticky. Burnish that down really well. Sorry, I was trying to make sure that I was right. So if you're opening your book on the front cover, so these are where the flaps are on the front cover, right? The left-hand side, so that's the side that goes in first. Left, right, left, right, and that's the one that has the pocket. And then the last one is your left again. So now you've got this space between the two, and we're gonna put a tag in there to hold it down. So this is what it's gonna look like. So see, here's the pocket, here's that flap, and we're gonna make a tag, and then that's gonna be our closing mechanism to hold that into place. Okay. So fun. Okay, so now we have got the left side of this one built. You're gonna go and do these exact same steps for the back cover, okay? And then if you want to ink up any of your edges, feel free to do that. And let's see where we are. The only thing that's different about the back cover is the way you install pieces G and H, like this. Because see how it's going out on this side? You're going to make sure it opens on the other side, right? You want it to open out, not inside the book. That's the only thing that I would look out for, is making sure you're putting it on the correct side. Let me get my sample. So on the back, you just want to make sure that you're putting these flaps that open outside, right? Where these open outside on this side. So just be aware. You're putting your pocket on this side. You're putting your flaps that open on the outside, and the rest of it is exactly the same put together. So just be careful of that. You want both your pockets to be toward the spine right here. Let me see my little fingers. Okay. And that will put us to the middle of page 23. All right, so there are instructions on how to put that pocket here. So here's going to be the next place that we're going to pick up. So thank you so much for coming along with me on this ride. I'm having a great time. I hope that I'm showing that. Sometimes I can get nervous and sometimes I can forget where I am. But anyway, every video will get better and easier. But thank you for being along with us. If you're enjoying this series, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. And like I've said in a video before this, there will be more series coming. I do know that I'm doing a Christmas in July, and I do know that I'm doing a Halloween probably in September album. And I really want to do a school album, but I don't have the supplies for that yet, so that's just a maybe. But if you've got any suggestions on anything that you would like to see, please leave a comment below or join my Facebook group, and that is also linked below, and give me a suggestion. All right, thank you so much, guys. I'll see you next time.